Episode 9.
Flying.
Wicked, okay.
You're going to go, yeah?
Yeah, I'm going to go for it.
Go on.
Go on. Welcome back, guys. Beautiful Struggle Podcast. We are here today, myself and Jay, with a very, very special guest.
Yep.
Somebody that I've known for, must be 5 years.
Easy.
We've trained together. We've done pull push legs together. I've even logbooked with him. And some people might think he's a controversial person to have on the podcast because we may be seen online to have different views.
Yeah.
But a great man at what he does, great coach, great bodybuilder, and we're going to get a fountain of information today off him.
Oh, yeah.
Kuba, not Cuba, Kuba, Cielen.
Yes. And you didn't butcher the name. You didn't butcher the name.
I got it. So
I was worried.
It took me to watch someone else's podcast to realise I'd been calling him the wrong name for 5 years.
I was driving today.
I just didn't have heart to tell him.
I was thinking in my head, how do I pronounce his surname? I was like, fuck, I hope Jamie does the intro.
Don't worry about it.
It's when people start calling him Cielen. It's not
Cielen.
It's not Cielen, is
Celine. I've heard Celine a few times in shows.
Yeah.
There we go.
Celine Dion. What's happening?
Start singing. I'm good, man. I love the setup. It's
Welcome.
great.
Yeah, welcome to the studio.
Yeah, it's amazing.
We're adding a bit at a time.
Yeah, we're... what time we were starting? 11, then 12, and now it's...
I actually said 12:30.
You said
I
half.
was actually 10 minutes late, so...
It's Cuba
It's
time.
awful.
Cuba time is a thing.
I apologise.
Cuba time's got better.
Yeah.
Because it used to be 3 hours
Oh, yeah.
plus. You was on like a different time zone. It's like flying to Dubai. We've set a clock for Dubai time. Cuba's going to be on UK time.
You drive to Rotherham, it's like 3 hours behind.
Funniest thing was when I first joined JP and we was doing videos together. And, I had my pre-workout. And this motherfucker's turned up at the gym. He starts eating his pre-workout. And the videographer's saying, what time are we training?
That was me, wasn't it?
Yeah.
You'll train when we tell you to train.
Yeah. Katie would be like, why are you home at 8 o'clock at night? You was training at 12 o'clock. I was like, no, we didn't train till 4.
Yeah.
But that's something, actually, that you've improved vastly in it the last few years.
I think as your responsibilities get higher, you
Yeah.
have to get your shit together. So that's exactly what I had to do. It's I mean, that's what most people lack.
Yeah.
When things start to slip, it's generally down to poor time management and timekeeping.
Yeah.
I think that's something that I had to learn. I wouldn't say the hard way, but it's something that definitely allowed me to do better with everything I do. So,
was there a moment you realised that you had to, I need to fucking get a bit tighter here with my schedule?
When was the Spain show?
When we all went, 2019? No, it was
Was it 20?
2020?
That weekend.
2020.
That weekend.
Well, yeah, it was first time.
Same year as the British, wasn't it?
Yeah.
2020.
Yeah.
That was the weekend, yeah.
That weekend.
That weekend, yeah. That weekend. And ever
I'm not
since that
surprised,
weekend,
to be honest.
That was the weekend, whereas, don't get me wrong, it was already work in progress before that.
Yeah.
But that was the weekend where it was like, right, I need to be up at this time and I need to get everything done by this time to be able to have a good, productive day.
Yeah.
And if I don't, I'm chasing my tail all day. So that's just not something I can afford to do.
Yeah.
And ever since that weekend, it's literally been Groundhog Day.
Especially on fucking show weekend yourself as well. Like, it's a fucking... With the... getting the clients round to the apartment at fucking 4 or 5 in the morning. I'm there with a fucking camera. We're running through them. Then you have to take care of your own shit. And then obviously you're looking at Meg as well. And madness, man.
That was fun. That was a fun weekend.
And then obviously go train as well.
That was cool.
One day out.
That was awesome.
The only IFBB pro that trained with a logbook in peak week.
Yeah.
That was mad. But that, maybe talk us through that. Was that your pro debut?
Yeah.
And you obviously got certain methodologies and things you do with clients and yourself. But if I remember rightly, you kind of thought the British was after, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So your eyes were on the British more than the Spain show.
Yeah, I want to be ready for the British properly and bring, a better package for that show. But I was already going to Spain.
Yeah.
Everyone was doing a Spain show. Meg was doing it. You guys were doing it. So I thought, I'll do it. I'm not going to be in top-notch condition.
Yeah.
I'm not going to be in shape that I want to be in, but I'll do it anyway.
Yeah.
And did all right. It was a good show.
It was a very good show.
Very good show.
I enjoyed that.
I'd like to see other people manage their own pro debut with the amount of clients that you were managing that weekend? Because that was to witness that going down. That was pretty fucking. That was hardcore. That. Yeah.
That's another thing that you learn now, that if you want to be able to concentrate on yourself on a show day, are you going to manage things differently in the future, or do you think that it's sort of like something that you've got to get used to, because obviously your coaching is always improving. You're always going to have athletes at shows. Is that something you think you can manage on a show day when you compete yourself and not be a detriment to your own prep?
It's a very good question. The better I can manage the guys that I'm actually having compete with me, the easier it is. Mm-hmm. If you know your athlete's ready, as you know yourself, it's not a stressful moment. It's not a stressful day. The only time it's a stressful day is if you're not ready and your athlete's not ready. Yeah. If you nail both, sit back and chill. Eat your food on time, don't do anything stupid, and you're there. Yeah. But it's whatever happens before that needs to get nailed down now. As far as it taking away from my own process, like it will if someone upsets me on that day. Yeah. You know, it will. Or if someone says something stupid. But if everyone's doing what they're supposed to be doing and everything's clicking, it's pretty smooth. Mm-hmm. If anything, it allows me to have that time where I don't think about myself, so I'm not overthinking. Yeah. And that's a good thing. Yeah, 100%, because how many shows have you gone into and you're sitting there and you get in your head, you're trying to keep busy, you're trying to do this, and you end up doing stupid stuff that doesn't really occupy your brain to that capacity where you can actually truly focus on it, where it takes your mind completely away from overthinking about what you're about to do. Yeah. With coaching, realistically, because you're having to process all that information and you're looking at pictures all the time, you're making the decisions that need to be made for other people, which in that state, you can make that decision for other people, but you can't for yourself. Because when it comes to yourself, personally, I don't think it's as black and white as it is with others.
No, it's not, because, you know, I don't think at that stage in the process of competing, you are mindful enough to make a rational decision. Yeah. It's
you can for others, but for yourself you can't.
Yeah, because you're looking at someone else without any bias. Yeah. But you're looking at yourself, thinking about what someone else is looking like, what you look like 2 weeks, 3 weeks ago, thinking, shit, am I flatter, am I smoothed over? Yeah. And it's a stress response. And I was going to ask you as well, because you obviously deal with a lot of clients, and this would be good information for other coaches and people competing. How do you manage someone's stress level on a show day? Let's say you got a first-time competitor, or just someone in general who's having a wobble by the way they look. Because I know from being a coach, stress is the biggest thing as a coach. We need to combat other people, because that's the one thing that's going to fuck someone up, if anything.
Reassurance. Yeah. You have to keep reassuring them. So any client that I've got competing in the show, they're not just going to be checking in once, and that's it. They're probably going to be checking in multiple times across the day, which I've seen you do that yourself, and you do that with your clients as well. So the only way you can keep someone chilled is that constant feedback and reassurance, especially when they're not used to doing and going through the process. Yeah. That's the only way you can keep them in check and keep the head on a level where they're not going to be panicking or thinking into things too much, because it's so easy to go in the bathroom under weird lighting, look at yourself and be like, oh, this is not what this looked like an hour ago. No. I'm soft, this has gone wrong, and then your head goes. Yeah. And we've all done it. Mm. But if you're getting a constant reassurance of someone that's telling you, look, I know you're good. Yeah. Don't panic. Just do what you need to do and everything's going to be fine. Yeah. I think that's the only way you can do it. But at the same time, you can only control so much. You can't hold someone's hand and take them all the way to the stage. No. I think sometimes you have to have the ability to nurture them into it a little bit as well. And if someone is already that way inclined, sometimes you have to just go through the process and the next time do better. Yeah. You have to sometimes accept that, look, sometimes people are just going to get stressed. And no matter what, you're going to have to do it, and you can only learn from that process. Yeah.
I've had clients before where you can just see them in front of your eyes each hour, checking in, getting softer.
Falling apart,
yeah. And you're giving them the amount of food that they should be easily taking in, and you're thinking, shit, getting softer. But this amount of food and water, whatever, it shouldn't be getting soft, it should be getting tighter. Yeah. And that's like a slippery slope that it's hard to come back from that position when they've gone past a certain look.
sometimes when you're not there, or even if you are there though, you don't truly know everything they're doing.
No.
Unless you've got someone there sitting with you, right by your side, 24/7, you just don't know.
I had a client one year, he didn't even get on stage. He had a panic attack backstage. He was that stressed. But he didn't tell me he was that stressed. I could see his physique kind of falling apart, but didn't know he was that stressed to that level. So that's what you're dealing with.
Yeah.
And that is just a learning thing for more so the client, I think.
So, question I'd be really throwing at it is, why do you want to compete when it's making you feel like that?
Yeah.
Like, it's supposed to be a positive process to most people. It's supposed to be something that brings out the best in you, not drives you to the point where you're having a panic attack.
Yeah.
If something in your life is present and it's driving you to that place where you feel a certain way and it's not a positive.
Yeah. But we spoke about this before, haven't we? That mental health is strongly linked to fitness and lifestyle and bodybuilding. And I think people associate mental health in a good way with bodybuilding, but in actual fact, it can be very bad for people who take it to the competitive level. I just don't think competing is for everyone.
Yeah, and also obviously a lot of the guys doing bodybuilding these days are doing it purely for social media. So when they get to the point where they're going to step on stage, and you're going to know more than this about this than me, is that when they're approaching you for coaching and they're doing it for the wrong reasons, when it comes to actually stepping on them fucking lights, and then it's like, oh, this is an Instagram and I have a fucking filter, that's probably going to cause that stress factor is going to be through the roof, isn't it?
Yeah.
So
at the same time, though, I think a lot of people turn to bodybuilding when they've got other underlying issues that they're trying to almost put aside and replace them with something that will force you to be all in with your life and every aspect of your life. So that can be equally as bad. So as much as people say it's like fitness for improving the mental health, it's like it is for some people, not for everyone. It really isn't.
Just covering the cracks in it.
Yeah,
it's covering the cracks.
You need to fix them cracks first before you crack on.
Yeah, I know for a fact, just from stress levels, when me and you worked together, I did the photo shoot with Bailey, and I was looking sick like 2 or 3 days before the shoot, and then me and the missus argued. Didn't speak to her for like fucking 2 days or a day and a half, and I turned up to that shoot and I was like, this wasn't what I looked like 2 days ago, and I knew for a fact. There wasn't nothing I'd eaten or anything because I was on point, but I knew for a fact it was that fucking argument with the missus 2 days ago.
So basically what you said there, Jay, is Carla's fault that you were...
Oh, she knows her fault. I called her out today. She apologised afterwards.
Nice.
Love you, Carla.
Quick, get in there.
She was to see her picture.
Let's just not talk about women in arguments here.
And on that note...
What is it, a week?
Moving on. 6 days until Carla's got to endure it again. So.
6 days, the last time. It's funny, we was at Jordan's party.
Let me just check that camera.
And I've gone out to get a drink. Jay stood with Katie and Carla. And I've come back in, and Jay's like, give me the art. Like, come and help me. So I've come over, and Carla's ripping into him about what a wanker he was on prep. Boom! And basically just digging him out to Katie. And I felt bad for him.
Oh, no.
She wasn't holding back.
Oh,
and
no.
then the next conversation was, so I just want to tick off the bucket list. I need to compete again this year, 2023. And I might do 2 or 3 shows, and Carla's face is like that. And I said, I'm like, is that good for the marriage, Jay? And yeah, she'll be fine. But her face didn't look fine, so he's got around her. He's competing, so we'll see.
Yeah, we're going to have another crack at the fucking whip, and then
next
year, and then I'm wrapping it up.
So,
too old.
What are your plans at the minute, Q? Because I think you plan on having the year off. And if that's the case, can you explain to us, maybe... You was a very successful amateur, wasn't you, from the junior days? So why don't you tell people that don't know how you came up and how that's kind of probably changed as a professional and what your view is going forward?
Ooh, that's a great question. So I started competing really early. I started competing at 16. So back in the day, in the area that I lived, there was only NABBA.
Yeah.
So nobody competed with UKBFF because UKBFF was predominantly based down south. That's where all the shows were, and you had to be at a certain standard to also compete with UKBFF.
Yeah.
So everyone knew, like, look, if you want to get to Olympia, you have to go where the pro card is. Obviously, UKBFF doesn't exist anymore.
Yeah.
So we can actually talk about it. But it all started with NABBA. So I did every under 18 shows there was for NABBA.
Yeah.
I won them all. Then I did junior under 18s, junior under 21s.
Yeah.
Scrap that. I'd won every single show that they had. So NABA North East, NABA UK, British Finals. The only show I did not win in junior under 21s was the NABA Worlds that took place in Ireland.
Yeah.
And the lad that came third the week before, Irish lad, won.
Yeah.
So as you can imagine, that was a little bit of a
coincidence.
That was a little bit of a coincidence.
Controversial.
So I'll basically say that I've won that.
Yeah, we just call it.
Anyway, we can say that I've won that. So 21, that was like the pinnacle. That was always the goal since I was a kid, was to win the NABA Junior Universe. That's what it was like, you know. Especially at the gym that I trained at, there was a lot of NABA boys in there. One of them won, you know, over 50s or 40s in Universe. And that's all they ever spoke about, is like the universe, you know.
Yeah.
So that was always the goal, especially since that age where when I first started, they always said like, look, don't stop wasting your time. Like, why even doing this? And I kind of wanted to not just prove to them, but prove to myself that I can do it. Mm-hmm. So I was relentless since that age, as always, really consistent. You know, nothing really stopped me, and I managed to win that show. Won the NABA Junior Universe and claim to fame. Who I actually beat, who came second.
Yeah.
Guess who? I'll give you a clue. He's Brazilian.
Horse
MD.
Yeah.
Horse MD came second.
Nice.
And let me tell you, backstage, when I stripped off, he was huge.
Yeah.
But I was peeled, so I made him look fat.
Nice.
So, but I remember was stood, wasn't stood backstage, was stood like on the stage, but behind the actual podium.
Yeah.
When they was doing call outs, and he kept telling me to relax, because Relax stood there, he dwarfed everyone.
Yeah, yeah.
He looked huge.
Well, he was telling you to relax.
Yeah. And I was just like, no. I was getting shots, mate.
way.
If I relaxed, you're going to make me look like a child.
Yeah.
So I definitely did not relax. Now, off the back of that show, I knew that to step up, I needed some time off, because the next step, the only thing I could do really after that was the men's open or UKBFF at the time.
Yeah.
Junior to 23s. So I had the year off, 2022. That was the year that we actually started building the gym as well. And then 2022, what am I talking about?
No, yeah. So
2016.
Yeah.
Right.
2015 was NABA Junior Universe, won that. So then I had the year off, 2016.
Yeah.
And then started prep March 2017. The gym actually opened January 9th, 2017 as well. So I had that year where I could grow. And off the back of that show as well, I probably made the most progress I ever have, because one, I got so lean.
Yeah.
And that was the year where I started to use my brain a little bit as well, when it came to training, and just started to really push things a little bit more. And being a little bit more committed to the training side as well. And that was the year where I actually started to work a little bit less on the doors and started to coaching a little bit more. And then 2016 was actually the year when I went coaching full time.
Got you.
So that allowed me to not only progress a lot more, but put a lot more time into my bodybuilding and not have to stay up till crazy nights at night.
Yeah.
And I think that was mainly the reason why my routine was slightly off for the years as well, because I was so used to being up
with the doors
so late at night with the doors as well. That kind of skewed things. It took me a long while to get readjusted. So 2017 came, and UKBFF, big year. You know, James was doing it. Everyone was doing that show. So I did the local qualifier, which was in July.
Yeah.
As a junior. And I came in like fully blown. I carved up really, really heavily. So I made them look like kids in the junior class, and everyone was like, yeah, you know, we look decent, blah, blah, blah. And that was 7 weeks out from the finals. So July up until the end of September, around 7 weeks.
Yeah.
So there was another show in Leicester. So speaking to one of the judges, he said, look, if you do another qualifier and do men's class, if you win that show, you can actually do both categories on the same day, if you want to.
Yeah.
So 4 weeks later, I'm in much better shape, much better condition, and I won that show in Leicester, and I actually beat quite a few good guys in it. I was like pretty surprised, you know, because that was the first time doing men's open class as well. Now, I had 3 weeks to get ready for the British finals. So, long story short, I had a bit of an accident, and then I couldn't really bring the package that I wanted to British finals because my training wasn't the best, and as you both spoke about stress and everything else, stress was through the roof as well. So it wasn't the best of packages, but I still managed to actually win both classes.
Yeah.
Both the juniors and the men's class, juniors and the heavyweights. So that was like the pinnacle. And that was, you know, looking back at everything that I did as a junior and that day, that was like, to me, you just can't get any better than this.
Yeah, that was
you really
awesome.
can't, yeah.
That was a year I had off, actually. I was watching the crowd for the first time in years, because that's the year I opened up my gym. And I was just like doing 80 hours a week at the gym.
Yeah.
I was swamped. I was like, it's not happening this year. But yeah, James obviously won supers.
Yeah.
Rob did like levies. Yeah, you did levies. They were good days because the lineups are thick, deep, and a lot of the people now are professional as well. So it's like good to have come up with those and seen everyone kind of progress as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, instead of taking a year out at that time, I started working with Jordan.
Yeah.
Straight after that show, and we actually decided to do the show a year after, 2022, the Amateur Olympia. That was the first year when obviously UKBFF got stripped from the pro card, and IFBB kind of separated themselves from them, rightfully so, because you know we both know how that was run.
Yeah, because what did you do in 18 and 19? Because 17 was the last year for UKBFF, wasn't it? And then 18, 19, I remember in 18, that's when I got my card, so I was competing for 2 bros.
So 2018, I did the Amateur Olympia.
Yeah.
Heavyweight class again, and the lineup was 26 people deep.
Yeah.
All the previous UKBFF champs came out with work.
Yeah.
Lewis Breed, everyone else came back after having time off. Dean, I can't remember his second name now, but the standard was really good.
Yeah.
And I actually came fourth in that show, and for me, in that lineup, that was just as good as winning them other comps.
Yeah, yeah.
Because of the lineup there, and Mark Hector actually won it overall in that show.
Really?
Yeah,
I remember that. Yeah,
and won his pro card.
Yeah, yeah.
And I actually seen Mark in the bathroom that morning.
Yeah.
On the show, there was like, "What are you looking like? Let's have a look." And he gave me a little sneak peek. I was like, "Yeah, he's gonna smoke everyone."
Yeah.
He looked insane.
I think he beat. Did he beat Laurie Carr?
Yeah. Yeah.
And then Laurie Carr went on to get a pro card in another show.
Yeah. So I wanted to do another show 2 weeks after, which was a Spanish show. Turned up, you know, competitors list wasn't that deep.
Yeah.
You know, but I just thought, you know, there's no way I'm going to win a pro card. Anyway, did it, ended up winning the whole show. But like I said, the lineup wasn't deep. You know, there was a few good guys in it. The guy that I beat in heavyweights was pretty decent, but I still wasn't really up to standard what I would consider, you know, a professional standard.
Yeah.
So off the back of that was 2018. I took 2019 off, came back in 2020, and did my pro debut.
Yeah.
And even then, I don't think I was still at that level.
What was the difference between 18 and 20, weight-wise and look, do you think?
Oh, it was massive. So in 2018, I was 96 kilo on stage, 97 kilo on stage.
Yeah.
And then when I did my pro debut, I was like 102.
Yeah.
Not in that much of a shape. And then my leanest and my best yet at the British Grand Prix and Romania, like my lowest point in body weights was like 99 kilo. So it was like 200. Let's talk about pounds because I think I can remember pounds exactly.
Yeah, yeah.
So I was like, when I won a pro card, I was on the verge of actually being able to do the classic class, which cut-off point was 98 kilos. So I could have done classic at that point. Now, 98 kilo in pounds, 215 pounds thereabouts.
About there, isn't it? Yeah.
Right. So when I came back, and arguably I still could have been leaner from the back. When I came back, I was 224 pounds. 222 pounds Romania and British Grand Prix in the leaner package as well. So I did build probably around 10, 11 pounds of muscle in that time off. Still could have been better. I definitely think so. I definitely think that there was a significant difference taking that time off and just being able to get my groove and be able to make the right improvements. I came back still with a respectable physique, but still not really a physique where I think, I belong at a pro stage. I don't truly think I've been able to present a physique that I'd say, I can hang here until last year.
Yeah. And I guess that's giving you the confidence now to push on, knowing that you feel like you're there and you know what kind of improvements you can make. So what is the target, 2024?
Yeah, 2024,
Yeah?
Yeah, start prep January 2024.
Wicked.
It's going to be good, man. I mean, I think I've seen you obviously grow through the years, and I think last year was definitely a great look and a great package. What I want to see from you next time, and I'm sure this has been said by other people,
hold the poses longer.
is more confidence on stage, because I think up to this point you have had that doubt in the back of your mind, and that's actually affected the way you present your physique on stage. Now you know. I think it's going to be game on and different kettle of fish next time. But off the back of that, then obviously joining forces with Jordan in 17, 18, and you said in 15 you started taking the training a bit more seriously and started to be a bit smarter. You're now obviously known for your training and your application and your kind of attention to detail. Where did that come from, and has that grown since 15, or with starting with Jordan?
That definitely grew since 2015. 2015 did my own prep.
Yeah.
2017 did my own prep. So that was the years where I really started to learn how to be able to really process things out, to make rational decisions with myself and people I was coaching as well. So it definitely was a process where I realised this, for me to get to where I want to be, I'm really going to have to not only put the effort in, but I'm really going to have to think into what I'm doing and not just do what Dexter Jackson's doing, because that clearly is not working for me.
No.
So this is the argument that we always have on social media with people. It's like, we can't compare ourselves genetically.
No.
Genetically can literally look at a dumbbell and grow.
Yeah.
If you are not that guy, unfortunately, you are going to have to use your brain and your God-given effort that you can put in the gym.
Yeah.
And that is a fact. And realistically, if I was that guy that looked at weight and grew, and you was that guy that looked at weight and grew, neither of us would be sat here.
Oh, definitely.
Doing this podcast right now.
No.
You'd know.
We wouldn't. No. We'd probably be sitting at home with feet up, chilling on the sofa, growing, and probably, winning pro shows and placing well at the Olympia. And that is a fact.
Yeah.
So ever since then, that kind of grew and developed. And training was always a passion. Bodybuilding was always a passion. So for me, that's the only thing that I'm interested in. So it was an easy progression to be able to really dive into something all in and immerse myself into it, from a learning standpoint and application.
Yeah.
So that's been a big turning point. And ever since then, if anything, it progressively got worse. It's almost like borderline obsessive, but I do think you've got to be slightly obsessed with something if you want to do well at it as well.
Of course. And off the back of that, is a good question that I've always been asked and asked other people is, do you think you can be excellent or a master of two things at the same time? So at the minute, I would say, do you think you can be a master of being a coach and a master of being a bodybuilder? Or do you feel that one can take away from the other?
Right, so the way I explain is this. When it comes to coaching and my own process, right?
Yeah.
One complements the other. Mm-hmm. The more I go through the process myself, the better coach I become, and vice versa, because I'm constantly processing feedback.
Yeah.
I'm constantly looking at form clips. I'm constantly looking at physiques and check-ins at different stages. I'm constantly trialing different things when it comes to protocols with diet and supplementation.
Yeah.
So I'm constantly breaking down data, and I'm constantly seeing what can I do to improve and develop. Mm-hmm. If I can do something that will see my clients improve and develop, I can apply that myself.
Yeah.
So it goes hand in hand. Now, where people say it's like you can't be both, they're just lazy.
Yeah.
It's like, don't tell me I can't do something because you can't do it.
Yeah, yeah.
And they say that they use it as an excuse to say, my coaching is going to take a step back because I'm so busy and I've got all these clients. It's like, no.
Yeah.
Coaching full time is not a job that's extremely physically demanding.
Oh, it's not.
Mentally, potentially at times, yes.
Yeah.
But for me, it's the only time it's mentally demanding if you're not on top of your shit.
Yeah.
If you're on top of your shit, it's not that demanding at all.
No.
You can handle a lot, and people can handle a lot more than what they think they can as well. Now, if you've got a good structure and system in place, I don't see how having a job can take away from your bodybuilding, because it forces you to be in a good routine.
Yeah.
It forces you to eat on time. It forces you to be in bed on time. It forces you to wake up on time.
Yeah, you're trying to lead by example.
These are all attributes that will not only make me a better athlete, but they'll make me better in business, because I know I can do a lot more.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I've got a structure and systems in place to do that.
I know that when I'm in prep and my mind's like tuned into the max,
Limitless.
you're more productive than ever.
Limitless.
Yeah. And that's a great point about routine again. It's like when Keith was on the podcast as well last week.
Yeah.
You know, he was saying that a lot of people have got this limited mindset. Yep. I can't do this. I can't do that. Well,
have you tried?
Who says? Yeah. Who says you can't?
You can't. Don't tell me I can't.
Exactly. And I think that's a great point to take home. But that's what separates people apart. That's why everybody's not at your level, an IFBB pro level. And that's why there's a lot of people online that really do my fucking head in, who are saying it's easy to get a pro card, and, you know, it's...
Why have they not got one?
Exactly, yeah.
It's easy to sit there and tell people what to do.
Yeah.
It's a lot harder putting in practice and doing it yourself.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like people forget. It's like, when have you done your first show? How long have you been competing? How many shows have you done?
Yeah.
It's a lot of work. It's a lot of experience. It's a lot of going through the process and knowing mentally how you feel and physically how you feel as well.
Yeah.
And now, as far as can you reach excellence in both, I can reach my own perception of my own excellence.
Yeah.
I know I can. Mm-hmm. But that is my own perception. I'm never going to be Mr. Olympia. I'm never going to claim and sit here that I'm going to do this and that. I'm not. But I know I can reach my full potential as an individual. That's a lot different to yours. That's a lot different to yours.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm not going to sit here and say, look, I'll do this, but because I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know until I do know, and I don't know until I reach my potential in bodybuilding. But one thing I know is I will do that. So I'm confident in that.
Yeah, you know what you will do. And that goes down the ladder as well to, like, even general pop trying to fucking get in shape around a day job and all that.
Yeah, for sure.
It does.
People working, you know, I'm not trying to degrade anybody, what they do, but whatever it is someone does, it's normally down to their mindset and what they think they can achieve.
Oh, yeah.
And that goes back to people being negative and coming across a bit jealous and envious online. Like, you forge your own path. No one started where we are now.
Yeah.
I've done many a job where it's been basic take-home wage.
If the goal is that big to you and that important to you, you're going to do it regardless.
Yeah.
Like with my shit, my bodybuilding is not on your boys' level. This is purely just a fucking hobby. But I will travel 9 hours in a day to go and shoot an Ultraflex and do my shoot. But I will also get my fucking cardio done.
Yeah.
And I will also get my training done and prep my meals for the next day.
Here's a question, actually. When I put the question box up, and I thought we would eat that question live and we'd all probably laugh at it as well. And it was something along the lines of, what do you do on the days where you struggle to stay on plan with your diet, or you find it hard to go to the gym in prep?
2017, right? 3 weeks out from British finals, I got stabbed.
Yeah.
Right? Next day, I was on the Stairmaster. 2 days after, I was training pull.
Yeah.
With my arm stitched up, bleeding in the gym. Did I eat off plan after I got stabbed? No. I got my dad to bring my food to the hospital whilst I was getting patched up. I didn't miss a meal.
Yeah.
I didn't undereat a single gram. I didn't overeat a single gram. I found a way. I got shit done.
Yeah.
Because the goal meant that much to you.
So you're telling me you struggle to stick on plan and you want to do this, you want to do that. You've got all these goals. Like, you don't want it.
You don't want it.
That's a fact.
You don't want it, yeah.
So this is where I really struggle to have any compassion towards people that show lack of effort. Yeah. Don't get me wrong. Anyone can go through a phase where mentally it gets hard, and anyone can, almost get to a place, a breaking point, right?
Yeah.
But don't just try and find me an excuse to really slack off and not commit. Because if you truly want it, you will find a way and you will do whatever it takes to get there, no matter what.
Yeah.
I think I've had a few occasions. I've got one client at the minute actually that fits into this mold of thinking bodybuilding is probably a lot easier than it is, and they'd start a prep and they realise how hard it is. and then the excuses start coming in. People just need to fucking really think about how badly do they want this goal? How badly do they want to compete? Because if that goal of whatever is big enough, like you say, you will do whatever you possibly can to make it happen.
Yeah, you will, man. You will. Apologies, by the way, boys, if I'm getting up because of the camera. That camera's playing hell over there.
Yeah.
So the audio goes into that camera. We'll keep this in the podcast because it is what it is. So I imagine there's going to be a couple of clips up to this point where the audio dips down. So listeners, if it does, don't shoot us. It's because the camera's been playing hell.
Shoot Jay.
Yeah, shoot Jay. Blame the video. Blame the video guy. He always comes out.
Blame the video guy.
But I think we're good now anyway. So we can crack on.
So Kuba, Mr. the real man. You love the reels at the minute, don't you?
Killing it.
Which is great. Again, the evolution of you as a person and a bodybuilder and a coach. It's great to see. And I love the reel about the evolution of cars. If we all could drive a Ferrari, we'd drive a Ferrari instead of a horse and cart.
You knew that would
right?
ruffle some feathers, I think.
This is in reference to something that I've not really seen a lot of, but you must have really got annoyed about something. People arguing what's best, free weights or machines.
Yeah.
And I agree. Machines allow us to isolate certain muscle groups, allow us to create tension in the parts we want to create tension. But again, it's hard to say that anything's better than another these days, isn't it? Because you always got camps for this and that. There's there's many points to suggest that weights on a machine is better than a free weight.
Yeah.
But some people still disagree. What do you say to those people?
Right, so let's just think about things logically, right? And listen to the actual video listen to what I said in the video. So I said mostly.
Yeah.
I use mostly machines over free weights, and that's a fact.
Yeah.
If my goal was powerlifting, I'd stick to powerlifting.
Yeah.
Bench, squat, deadlift, because that's what I need to achieve my goal, right? If my goal is building muscle, I'm going to pick the best possible tool that allows me to get the job done with the least possible risk and least possible fatigue measured as well. So when we break down what's better, machines versus free weights, right? Machines offer you external bracing, so you get in a machine, you don't really need to think about much, you just press it.
Yeah.
You get on a dumbbell press, right? There's no external stability. You have to think about stability first before you actually start pressing.
Yeah.
So there you go. That's one thing. Now, secondly, you get on a machine, tension does not drop off. It's there all the time.
Yeah.
What happens when you get to a top position of dumbbell press? Here, there's no tension, there's no resistance, right? So when we actually compare these movements and we actually break down what they do and how they do it and how they work, like there's just no argument to say that you are going to get more out of free weights when it comes to building muscle. You are not. However, does that mean that you should never use them? No, that's not what I'm saying. But if your goal is solely trying to build as much muscle as possible, you are likely going to be better off using most of the machines.
Yeah.
You look at some of the biggest humans on earth, Jordan being one of them, apart from deadlift.
Yeah.
Do you ever see Jordan do anything other than deadlift in a free weight fashion?
No. You don't see any bench, no free bar squats.
No dumbbell work.
Yeah.
Nothing at all.
No.
And look at Jordan and look at what he did to get to his biggest yet. Mostly machines. Like I said, mostly. Not all,
No.
but mostly. Don't get me wrong, you will have to incorporate some free weight movements in, like the RDL, like SLDL, if you need to.
Yeah.
But you don't just have to do that because Jordan does it.
It's
I don't deadlift. I don't deadlift on back day.
So what's the calm?
Jordan does. I don't. It's like you do what you need to do to reach your goals, and think about things logically. It's like, do I really want to be doing a flat bench that you know will always come at a risk? One day you get that bench off that rack, and if you know your arm path is a little bit off, you let your elbows flare a little bit too much, that's your pec gone. You tear your pec and it's bad, you're never placing well at show ever.
Career done, innit?
That's you done.
Yeah.
You might as well pick something else. So why would I expose myself to that risk and even get less of a benefit? Because it's like simple logic, right? What's the function of your chest, of your pec? It's not to press your arm forward and upwards.
No.
It's to take your arm away from your body and bring it across.
Yeah.
So if you're trying to train your pec, that's what you have to mimic. Most machines converge and mimic that, right? Does a flat bench do that or not? No, it moves in a single motion, no converging, straight bar. So it's a fixed movement pattern that doesn't even allow you to really adjust your position to really suit your mechanics. If you've got longer arms as well and a shallow rib cage, bench is probably the last movement you ever want to be doing, unless you want to pec there. Then just do that. So that should put to bed if you ever wonder why we pick machines over free weights. That's a idiot-proof explanation of why you should pick that. And if you try and argue with me otherwise, please prove your point and explain why you think machines are worse than free weights. Please enlighten me. One guy even tried telling me there's you get a massive hormonal response out of using the free weights over machines. I was like, mate, that study, listen, that study, there's literally a study that has been done debunking that. Yeah. And further, they've gone as deep as another university has actually basically verified that study. So they restudied that study again.
Yeah.
To be even more precise, debunking that. And I've sent him both research papers as well. That I've read them both because of idiots like that. It's stuff I don't even need to read, but I read because I know people are going to try and challenge me in that fashion. So it's like, I've got to be ready.
You're ready for them.
I've got to be ready. And trust me,
Do you get it a lot? Do you get it a lot? Yeah. Because obviously you're putting so much content out, obviously off the back of what Jay said.
When you put information out, you know you've got to back it. If you can't back it,
you've got to back up your bullshit now.
Yeah.
I think the key... Sorry, Jay.
Go.
Are you sure?
Yeah, you go.
But it's the same with coaching though. It's the same with coaching though. It's like, I've got a lot of clients that anything I tell them, they'll ask me why.
They'll question you.
How, why, what, when. So if I'm not prepared...
Yeah. And that's good for them to question you, isn't it? So they know what's going on.
It's good for me as well because it keeps me fresh.
Yeah.
It keeps me always, mentally switched on as well.
At the end of the day, I always say, hey up.
Fucking hell, the podcast is falling apart.
Sorry.
It's you, mate.
I'll get that.
I like it like that.
live on
The trouble is, the other one might go. It's quite a cool temperature in here. Yeah. We've noticed that the stickers they only last so long.
And I think that's why the camera was playing up because the cold of the battery, all the neurons or whatever in the battery.
We'll have to heat it up properly next time.
Yeah. Anyway,
what I was going to say is key point. There's one key word in that long thing you said there. One key word.
James Bisson, you've just wasted my time.
No. One key word. Mostly.
Yeah.
The issue is with social media these days is we're trying to compress all this information into 1 minute. Yeah. 60 seconds of information about key points. Yeah. And people jump on it.
Well, you did a great one with D handles, etc.
Yeah.
And it was actually a very good point, but again, people jumped on it. They didn't even hear or read anything you said.
They see what they want to see.
Yeah. So people almost see their own interpretation of what you're saying that is just not the message that you're trying to give.
I had one of Jay McCall's family members who's been coached by him for 6 years tag Jay in the because Jay was prepped by Jordan at one stage, wasn't he? Is it Jay McCall? Jay McHale?
Oh, Josh McHale, yeah.
Yeah.
Josh McHale from Manchester, I think.
So he had a transformation pic of his back, and the pictures look about 10 years apart.
I've seen that, yeah.
They were 6 years apart, actually, because I messaged Josh privately and said, look, this guy's fucking took this way out of context, because he was saying that, I was saying back can't be grown with a D-handle attachment. Well, yes, it can, but as an accessory to your whole program. Yeah. And I messaged Josh and said, Josh, just out of interest, how many back exercises do you do in one session? And how many would be D-handles? He says, well, 1 would be a D-handle out of 5, which is the normal. 1, maybe 2.
Yeah.
But the reason why I kind of go off about this is because I'm a little bit more old school than the educate route. Not that I'm saying I don't educate myself, because I fucking do, because it's very vital. And as I said, evolution of technology and information is very important to keep yourself growing. Yeah. But when I see a lot of the D-handle movements now and a lot of the movements on Instagram, it just looks like people are trying to be too perfect. Yeah, and it's for me, it's robbing away from the intensity and the effort that got us to where we got.
Yeah, absolutely. So using a D handle should not be an excuse to use a player side.
Yeah.
Just because using a D handle does not mean you back off the intensity and try and lift nothing.
Yeah.
Like when I use a D handle, I'm doing the full stack.
You're going to town on it.
If I see a client use a D handle and they're not putting effort in, they get told straight.
Yeah.
It's like your sets are done to failure, to your maximum capacity, maximum output. I don't want anything held back ever.
Yeah.
So this is where the biggest real confusion is set. It's like using a fancy movement does not mean you train with no minerals. Using a fancy movement means, yes, you are using a fancy movement, but you are still taking your sets all the way there. You're still taking as much pride in your effort, as well as using your brain and execution. So it's not just one or the other, because just being able to execute well a movement well with a fancy setup means nothing if you're not going to put the effort in.
And a lot of these guys, you don't see them doing the hard stuff ever. I mean, you go on your Instagram, you see the hack squats, you see the big pulls, you see the stuff that is needed to, like you say, improve physiques like ours that are forged off hard work. We need to know how to train properly. We need to know which exercises are good for us, because we can't look at those dumbbells and grow.
Unfortunately, we can't get away with just going in the gym and doing whatever. That's just a fact.
And at the same time, you know me, as much as we'll disagree on certain things, not a lot, but just perhaps the minor details, I always say, and I always kind of like put a caveat on my post, that you do what you enjoy doing. Because I have a massive thought and feeling towards the connection between the mind and what you do, and the happiness level
absolutely.
to your progression.
You would get worse results doing something you don't like, and that's a fact. But it's like we disagree on a lot of things, and that's fine. Just because I don't agree with a certain method, that it's not that I don't agree with. It's just I wouldn't do it like that. But that does not mean that I'm going to sit here and fucking slate it. It's like, it doesn't matter. You're still getting results.
I think the issue is some people now.
It's just because just because I'm not an advocate of that method does not mean that I need to slate it or make a fuss about it. It's like, who cares? It's like, Jamie doesn't lose sleep because I've got a different methodology. I don't lose sleep because Jamie's got a different. It's like, we don't care. We just crack on.
It's sad that people expect you to, though, isn't it? In social media, they expect you to be talking shit about Jay and Jay to be talking shit about you.
It's madness. I mean, I always say the thing about the logbook. The logbook can be a great tool, but people will then go, whoa. If you've got one camp or the other, you've got the camp who don't believe in the logbook. They're saying no one at the Olympia is using a logbook. You got
Dorian Yates.
You got the camp saying Dorian uses a logbook, but motherfucker, you ain't got Dorian Yates' mindset or work ethic. 100%. So you can't compare the two.
Plus, you're not hiding in the fucking shadows. You're all over Instagram posting every fucking set as well.
Branch Warren train like this, Ronnie train like this. You're not Branch Warren or Ronnie. Like you say, learn who you are, what your capabilities are, what the best method is for you. It's going to take time. But there's only one thing that fucking gets you there more than anything. It's hard work. And consistency.
Hard work and consistency trumps everything.
And routine.
It literally does. It does. Like, it doesn't matter what you do if you train hard enough and you work hard enough. And you commit to it enough and you're consistent enough. Like, you will get results. But then there's a caveat to it. That can only take you so far before you need to start really thinking outside the box and thinking, what else can I do to be better? But the problem is, people started backwards, where they start looking at the 1% and the 10% first before they learn hard work. It should be over around. You learn to work hard first, and then you focus on the minutiae instead. To get you to the next place, or even have you reach another level. And that comes across everything that we do.
Sure.
Well, it's everything, just not outside of bodybuilding as well.
100%. It's like content, everything else. It's like, when did you start filming content to begin with? How far in your career was you? How many shows have you won? How developed was you?
A lot. Yeah, I was like, when I really started filming content is when I turned pro. So I'd done
the first
20 shows before then.
The first time I ever recorded a video of me talking to a camera. The first time was the day after I won a pro card.
I remember actually you said to me, I don't know how you do the stories. I don't know how you walk down the street, Jay, with the camera in front of your face.
This was before
YouTube.
Like,
I'd feel daft. And then we got talking about the YouTube because we were both with Jordan, and we were thinking, I don't know if Jordan's be cool with having a YouTube channel.
I remember us walking around Macro, me, you, and Jimmy, talking about starting YouTubes, and I was like, let's fucking do it then. And then he was like, I don't know, but look at you now, fucking hell. All them like daily reels and all the content, and you doing your own vlogs as well.
It's needed to grow a business, to grow as an individual. It's needed, and maybe Maybe you could give people advice as well, because there's a lot of people out there now trying to start a YouTube channel, build their following online. People see the following now and the views, etc., and they just see that now. I mean, when I started my YouTube channel, I was getting 100 views or whatever, and people will give up.
Yeah.
And I know if we give up, we won't be where we are now.
Yeah,
but again, it's consistency and routines.
Right, so before I actually start, and that's going to be a good one.
You're going to go in?
So, yeah, I'll go in. But, right, let me just give a brief one, right?
Oh, yeah.
And I'm going to eat my food before I give the answer to the overall question. But brief one, Jamie, right?
Yeah.
When you first recorded a video, how many views did you get?
Mate.
Because I can
bet it was like below 50.
No. I can promise you, the first video we ever did, I bet it's 10k plus.
Now it's probably right.
Oh, actually, the first proper video, it was
that's
like
what I'm saying.
32, 50k.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Right, so before we actually get stuck into this deeper subject.
Yeah, that was the
first video we ever did.
Yeah.
30, 40k views, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Right, so let me eat my food, then I'll get warmed up. I'll do a bit of shadowboxing around back, and I'll get back to you.
We're rolling when we're ready to go in, man.
Right, good to go, yeah?
Good to go.
Right, so we've done a little bit of instigation, and Jamie's first YouTube video hit 40,000 views, or thereabouts. So 40,
42,
50, 42,000 views. Now, why do you think you hit so many views?
It's because by that time I'd already established a following, and people. I think I had a level of respect for what I do.
So, without sounding like I'm trying to patronise people, before you start YouTube, make sure that you are giving people something that they will want to watch.
Yeah.
Now, for that to happen, you need to be at a certain level with your own development and with your own journey.
Yeah.
So, learn to walk before you can run.
Yeah.
I think you've got to go through the process first before you even consider doing YouTube. For me, and for Jamie, I can guarantee that. Like, YouTube is only there to be able to continue building up the brand.
Yeah.
Nothing more. If it wasn't the case and I didn't need to do it for that purpose, I would not be doing it.
Yeah.
I don't see the pleasure, apart from doing some of the bits where I know it genuinely helps people for free. And you do the same. A lot of yours are very informative at the moment.
Yeah.
I do watch them. Now, if it wasn't for that, I would not be doing any YouTube.
Yeah.
I can tell you that for free, because I don't genuinely like doing it. It's like, you're great at vlogging, for example, right?
Yeah.
And I have to get someone in to film.
You've had a go, haven't you? You've had a go at doing your own vlogs, haven't you? I think.
Yeah, but at the moment, me and Meg are so busy, especially her.
Yeah.
It's just not to do it and then have to edit it. It's it's not a pain, but it's not something that we enjoy as much.
You've probably got more important shit to be doing than sitting there editing a fucking
Exactly
vlog
that.
as well.
Exactly that. So,
well, I know you obviously edit your own, but you literally just chop them up.
Yeah,
like
this is why it's basic, because exactly that.
Yeah.
I ain't got time to sit
Exactly,
there and edit it and learn how to edit. It's a big thing.
I know.
That's why I always say to you that, the money you charge, the skill level, a large part of that goes into the editing.
Yeah.
You've obviously got to have a skill to record the content initially, but the editing is really what makes the video, isn't it?
Yeah.
And that's the time.
Yeah, but you've obviously, like we've had this conversation off camera as well, you've obviously got to see something like return of investment off the back of it as well.
Yeah.
That's why I've said to you about the reels, and obviously you're killing on the reels as well.
Yeah.
When you're getting the guys in to film your stuff, you're doing your YouTube, but I know for a fact, because when we film with the Barrio Boys, you're like, Jay, I need that reel.
Yeah.
Jay, I need that reel. And I know what you're like that with Alex or whoever else you're filming with as well.
Yeah.
Which is what you've got to do, because then you're getting return of investment, because yes, you're putting that video on YouTube, which unless you're at the level like Eddie Hall that we've been talking about, where you're getting that money coming back, you've got to see a way of like, right, I'm getting this guy in to film YouTube, why am I getting him in? Well, yeah, it's documenting my journey, my prep or whatever I'm doing, but also I'm going to have drip feedable content throughout the month where I've got stills, I've got reels, and I can give something back to the followers on Instagram, which is where 90% of your following is going to come from.
Yeah.
So that's where you got to approach your YouTube game, not because I want to fucking document the road to pro or whatever you're doing. Like
Kuba said, you got to kind of approach YouTube as in that is one element or one more element to building your brand.
Exactly, yeah.
Realistically, and as well, when you look at the views that we get, like we're just small fish in a big pond.
Yeah.
Realistically, like, we're not YouTubers. We don't get the views that YouTubers do.
Mm-hmm.
So you want to ask these questions, ask the YouTubers. But
Yeah.
again, the guys that are doing it to get that sort of return, trust me, they are professionals.
Yeah, yeah.
You look at Brandon Harding, he's never got his camera down.
Yeah, they're putting in the
And
work.
his editing is better than most videographers I know.
Yeah.
Like, his editing to the par with yours, bro.
I know Brandon.
He's sick.
Me and Brandon, well, in fact, because obviously I've known Brandon way before probably he was on your radars, because we were in the same game at the same time when he was doing his vlogs.
Yeah.
And I know he knows how to work, knows the way around the camera.
Relentless.
Yeah.
Relentless. Came to the gym a few times and he's like, he films the stuff you want to see as well.
Yeah.
It's calculated the way he films. It's not just random filming.
He's been taught that because he's been around the right people. So when he came into the game, he came up against, not come up against, but he came up with, alongside the OGs of the YouTube fitness game, like Lex Griffin, who I used to film for, who is a purely a YouTuber, and he's living in a big fucking house off the back of YouTube money. Yeah. So he's come off the back of those where these guys have told him, right, you need these fucking angles, you need this kind of content, this camera, this is how you edit, and
send me the info when you've done that. Send me the info.
yeah, he's sick, though.
That's true though, because a lot of our content, people want to see the things that like an amateur videographer thinks that they want to see just the training. Well, they don't. They want to see the conversations in between. Mm-hmm. They want to see the information about why we're doing what we're doing.
Yeah, I think the saddest part of it all is right now is people don't fully commit and enjoy themselves in the gym because they're trying to do all this filming, trying to do all this content. It's like the best sessions I've ever had in my life, and the most fun I've ever had in my life, the most fulfilling sessions have never been filmed.
Yeah.
When you just switch off and just go.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree.
This is why it's great having someone in to actually film me, because I can do that, because I just do. I don't plan any of the sessions. I don't plan any of the content.
Well, I know that.
The guys just come in and
just turn up, press record.
Get the camera on, let's go.
Yeah.
So I feel like sometimes if you plan and try and do all these things, it comes across really fake at times as well.
Yeah.
And some people are great with that, but you have to have a special kind of skill to be able to do that.
Yeah.
If you don't have the skill to do that, don't try to do it.
It comes across as fake then, and
people will know it's fake.
Yeah.
People will know it's not genuine. I think the more genuine it can be, the better.
In
Look at
fact,
Siebel. So genuine.
Yeah.
So genuine. You can tell.
You can see it a mile off. It's night and day. Jordan actually shared someone's or a reply to a Q&A, I think, because someone had said, can you do more of these motivational Instagram edits, where he did like the pull, the RDL the other week when I filmed him. I made like a little motivational edit off the back with him talking about like asking for permission and all that. And someone asked him, can you do more of those? And he was like, I can't do more of them because it's just what I do in the moment. And if I'm putting it out there too much, it's going to feel like I'm doing it on purpose.
Yeah.
And then it completely takes away from what that moment actually is.
You can't do that because that moment either comes or it doesn't.
Yeah, it's organic, isn't it?
Same with reels. It's like, I don't think of any of these reels.
Yeah.
I don't write any of them down. Like some of the clients that I've got, I make them write them down, but I know that they need to do that to create the content, but all the reels I do, it's literally off the moment.
Yeah.
It's, if it comes to my head and the guys are filming, we're on it, it's getting shot.
Yeah.
If it doesn't. Some videos I get, I'll do one reel. Some videos I get, I'll do 30. It just depends on how fresh I am mentally, if I had a good day or not. It all comes into it.
And the day, it's your experience, isn't it? It's coming out. In those sessions when you touch the weights, you think of how you're feeling that day, what your goals are. Something's going to link together somewhere, and it's going to come out. But like you say, staging something is a different kettle of fish. You can't. I don't think you can do it and it'd be effective, because that's what makes our content so special. It's the fact that it is organic.
You've got to be real.
It's natural.
You've got to be real.
Yeah. I do also think, off the back of that, if you are looking for a certain angle in your content where it's more, because I love creating the fucking documentary style content, if you've got a good videographer that can do all that shit but also keep it raw for the person in front of the camera, then it comes off fucking looking sick. It does. And I've done one or two things with James when we did a few bits last
your work's
year.
definitely improved.
Yeah, thanks, bro. but that's what I love doing. I love doing that documentary style.
Yeah.
So when you can do that and capture that raw emotion, then it works. But if someone's given the raw emotion and it's, when that camera's not recording, they're laughing and joking, or the face changes completely as soon as they hear the record button gone off. It's like, fuck, man, that's just fake. And I've been there recording, and it's cringy as hell.
They we're not actors.
No.
We're bodybuilders.
Yeah.
Coaches, videographers, man behind the camera. There's a difference. I'm shit at acting. And that's what I've always been myself on social media and told other people to be as well.
You're gonna have to brush up on that a little bit.
I was going to go there as well, because
brush up on that.
I think that's where it's going.
We'll see.
Should go there.
I always said that.
Yeah.
If I was his height, I had his hair, I had his looks, I'll be a multimillionaire by now.
Grow my hair,
living in one house with 5 women under one roof.
5 women.
One would be cooking, one would be cooking, one would be cleaning, other one would be putting my socks on, other 2 would be cleaning the house tub out, cleaning the hot tub out and the ice bath.
Yeah, the thing is, what Kuba's done is he's made one woman. He's made Meg into 5.
Meg is just doing it all.
Yeah, she does the fair.
Shout out to Meg.
Meg's like 10 women
Big
rolled
Meg,
into one.
Big up Meg.
Yeah, bless her.
Fucking hell.
That's quality.
Yeah, I seen her yesterday. She come on to me when I was filming the boys yesterday.
What do you mean she come on to you?
Show me the wood, bro.
Mate, I think if I asked Katie to do half the things you asked Meg to do, I'd get a slap in the face.
I genuinely don't ask.
No, she's a good one.
But it's, look, different strokes,
I know what you're going to say.
Right.
You're trying to think of the right way to say it.
I don't want to insult I don't want to insult Meg or Katie, right? But I don't think you'd probably like to be with someone like Meg, genuinely.
No, I'm definitely used to. I've always gone for the same type of women. They're feisty,
Exactly.
and they don't put up with much shit.
Yeah. Whereas it's a different one. I like to get mothered a little bit, and I've always had the kind of women that
Yeah.
I've groomed them into it.
While we're on this topic as well, do you think
you're not putting my socks on now, but you will.
Yeah.
Give me 3 months.
Being a little bit serious with that, do you think that comes from the culture as well, where you're growing up, your culture growing up as well?
Yeah, absolutely.
Because we haven't really talked about. We've talked about obviously your early days competing, but if we go back, because obviously we know where you kind of grew up and all that, and the story. But while we've still got time, the culture of you growing up, do you think that's kind of the way you kind of work around things in life, with business, relationships, etc.? I know.
Business, no. I think business, that's been more so from my environment and people that I've had around me, not my parents.
Right.
I think relationships and culture, yeah. I'll give you an example. Like my mum's always really looked after me. I could say a lot of things about my childhood, but I never went hungry, and I never, I was never not looked after. In a certain way. Now, I'll give you a funny one. My nan came to England a few years ago, and my mum actually asked me to wash the dishes, which I never do. My nan turned around.
Keep talking.
My nan turned around and went, "No, that's your job."
Yeah.
I was like, "Big up, Nan." I just walked off. I just walked off with a swagger. I just went, right, you've just been told.
Bless you.
That that's the kind of culture that we've always had. It's like men had to be men, and women was women. So that's all I ever knew. So would I be able to be with someone that's a very strong, independent female like Katie is, which she is? She's the boss lady. Realistically, she is, right?
I don't disagree.
And look, Meg, when it comes to being her own boss and work, everything else, she's amazing. But she's also got the side where she looks after me. She does the bits that a traditional
wife.
A traditional wife would, but that doesn't mean everybody wants to be that way.
No,
and you can't force someone to be a different way. Nor should you ever try and do that.
Yeah, and at the same time, if they are that way, you're not going to complain.
Well, no, you wouldn't. Because you should never try and get someone to be the person they don't want to be.
Yeah.
And to be honest, if you're not happy with them, you shouldn't be with them. That's a fact. So it's like, you know, you don't ask Katie to do a single thing. She does what she does, and you do what you do.
Yeah.
And it's the same with Meg. Mm-hmm. But, you know, she knows what the expectations are because I've set them firmly from the start. But I do think some of that definitely comes from the culture because that's all I've ever seen.
Yeah.
So I think it's put me in a certain way to not almost expect it, but draw me closer to females that are that way inclined.
Yeah, of course.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I do. And then your upbringing is ingrained in you.
Yeah.
So it's going to pass on a lot of those attributes into you as an adult and growing up.
Yeah.
So it's definitely not a shocker. I mean,
did you mention business as well?
Yeah.
So I was 11 when I came to England. You know, everyone knows the story. You know, I hated it. It was pretty terrible. You know, upbringing was never the best. Jamie knows the crap, but we don't really need to get too into that because it's boring. People don't really want to hear that. But anyway, it's something that you probably heard before anyway. So we don't really need to get deeper into that. But when it came to business and everything else and how to kind of look at life in general, that never came from my parents because my parents was always happy working for other people. My parents was always happy just having a job and getting by. Mm-hmm. I was never like that since I was a kid.
Yeah.
Ever. And I think that was more so down to me always being surrounded by older people. My friends was always older. The people I was always around was always self-employed, was always working for themselves. And the conversation was never, you know, them talking about going to work. It was always them talking about what they want to do to progress in life and reach certain goals. So I was always around people that were so driven to just progress and be a certain way where they're not working for others, they're creating their own success.
Yeah.
And being honest, if I looked at my childhood and my dad and the way they operated, the way they lived, it's I'm nothing like them. I'm total opposite.
Yeah.
And I would even say it's like that's what pushed me towards being the way I am, is seeing how they lived and how our life was.
Yeah.
Basically making sure that I'll never have to live like that again.
Yeah.
Learning from what they did or didn't do.
I'm the same. Yeah.
Got it.
It's like, I'll be straight up and honest with you. It's like, the reason why I dreaded leaving school so much is because I knew that I was not able to wear a uniform anymore. I'd have to wear normal clothes. And it's like, what are you going to go to college when you've only got like one pair of trainers, one pair of joggers, and 2 different t-shirts they can wear?
Yeah.
What are you going to do when they've got kids coming in every single day and they've got a different outfit every single day? So, you know, I had to work to get into my own shit. So it's like the first job I ever had, I was like 13 working a car wash.
Yeah.
Then I worked in at a gym. And then again, I started PTing really early. I started PTing when I was like 17. PTing, working a call center. I did everything I had to do. And most of the times I worked 2 jobs as well.
Yeah.
To be able to have the things that I needed so people don't look at me like I'm a tramp. Mm-hmm. And that was a fact. And it's definitely the things that I probably saw in my childhood that I just thought, right, I'm never going to live like this.
Yeah.
And I've always been the person that I'm not tight, but I live like I'm poor.
Yeah.
I do. I don't spend money on anything. My outgoings are extremely low. Like, do I need to be living like that? No, but in comparison to what I've lived like most of my life, I'm living an extremely comfortable life.
Yeah.
So I'm happy living like a poor man because that's all I've ever known. And right now, you know, I can afford a lot more, and I can pretty much, you know, what you measure success, freedom. I'm free to do as I please, but I'm never going to be that guy that lives beyond his means. Like, from a very early age, I've always saved up. I've always been very, very calculated when it came to, right, this is what I need to survive. This is what I need to have a buffer and I can save up. And this is what I need to kind of be comfortable and be able to do what I do.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It's a great message because a lot of the situations that we see these days, especially on social media, is people living beyond their means, people trying to create some kind of image.
Yeah.
People definitely faking it. And I know the last podcast was about fake it till you make it, right? But it's just commonplace in this society. And you talk about work ethic a lot and your upbringing, and that's why you couldn't do anything else but work.
Yeah.
And you've worked hard to forge this physique, this career, this business, many other businesses as well, by the way. And again, it all comes down to that one word: fucking hard work.
Yeah.
And effort and consistency and resilience and all the things that I attribute bodybuilding to have helped me with, because I was the same. Yeah. Obviously different kind of backgrounds, but when you said about you the way you are because you didn't want what your parents had, it's exactly the same view as I had myself. Not that I had a bad upbringing, I'm not saying that, but there were certain things that I just didn't want to be the same.
Yeah, I wouldn't say I had a bad upbringing either. It's just I'm kind of glad I had the upbringing I had right now, because I wouldn't be the person that I am.
Yeah, and I agree with that as well, because I think like I used to get a slap on the arse quite regular. My mum used to scream at me. She used to I used to know that my mum was the boss. Yeah. We live in a society today; it's full of flakes, and parents are scared to discipline their children because they're going to have someone knocking at the door.
Yeah,
it's like a balancing act, isn't it, between what's right and what's needed.
Yeah, that's one thing I'll give it. My morals were always good.
Yeah,
and I think that's half the battle. One is instilling the right morals into your kid, but I think them morals then transfer over to everything else that you do in life.
100%.
And then bodybuilding is literally like open up the door and pave the way. It's like, if I know I can work so hard to achieve this goal and do that on a daily basis and put myself through hell to a degree, like I can do anything I want in life.
Yeah.
And I always say, I said it before, Alex Turner, Arctic Monkeys, the teacher, I was always in trouble at school. I was never there, I was always at gym, hanging out.
Standard.
Hanging out with older men, listening to, all the tricks.
Yeah.
And he always said that, look, you can say whatever you want about him, but he can do whatever he wants to be. Yeah. That always stuck in my head. And I'll never forget it the rest of my life. Yeah. Because that hit, when he said that, I felt like I could walk through a wall.
Yeah.
I was like, yeah, he's right. I truly believe that, like, with my heart and soul since that day. Yeah. And I think that's what's also allowed me to stay on the right path as well.
Yeah.
Because my life could have gone down numerous paths as well.
Do you think it's I think with social media now, it's easier or harder to be that person, to like say follow your dreams, be the person you want to be? Because what I see on social media a lot is a lot of people trying to replicate content. Yeah. And I think, is it harder to be original? I think it gives us a platform to showcase our abilities, but at the same time, it is hard to reinvent the wheel because you can't.
Yeah. You can't reinvent the wheel, but you need to give the people what they want. Yeah. You do.
I think if your morals are in the right place and you're staying true to who you are, it sounds cheesy as fuck because I've heard it so many times on fucking Love Island and all that, saying being true to yourself and all that shit. Yeah. But I think if you are generally true and you're constantly checking yourself as like, right, everything I'm doing right now in terms of like putting the content out, is it real? Does it represent what I'm about? Yeah. Does it represent what I've come up from? Does it represent where I want to go? If those things, and you're checking them and you're like, yeah, we're all good, and just fucking keep cracking the whip.
Yeah. I think that's the key.
If you're being yourself, if you bring value, I mean, that's the biggest one. If you bring something to the table that either is going to help people or entertain people, you're going to do well, no matter what. You really are. Yeah,
definitely. I'll be honest with you, some of the most engaging content I've ever done is chucking some bits of fucking bread and bagels on a bird table in the morning. People went mad for it. Yeah. Like, where's the bird table gone?
Little things, though. Little things.
Crazy.
Make a difference.
I might have to do one day when I take the videographer like a throwback. On the road. Yeah, throwback. Let's go and find a bird table.
Yeah, but look, this is where prep comes in handy, because it sets you in such a good structure and routine where you do all these things that you're not doing right now. Yeah. People are more engaged. Because you can continuously going through the process and you're showing the process. Yeah. Right now, you're still going through the process, but you're not showing any of it. Yeah. People aren't as engaged. People aren't as engaged.
That's the thing as well, content-wise and engagement-wise, you've got to be on it all the time. Yeah. We see many people
consistency
who are there and gone.
Yep.
And it's about being present all the time. I had a discussion with someone else about it. You've got to be consistent. And then that will bring success. I've got a few questions, Jay. Have you got some
Yeah,
questions
some,
on your thing? Just
some come through as well.
Smash some of those out before we let Kuba on his merry travels. So this is probably a good one because it's going to lead us down something that I know you're very in tune with. It's about recovery.
Yep.
I know you're very mindful of your own recovery and your own kind of... You're in tune with your own body, so you listen to your own body. And I think this is a question that's very personal to situation and person and how they're programmed, whatever. There's been many conversations over the past about, oh, you should train 4 times a week, you should train 5 times a week, you can train every day. What's your view on the whole training versus recovery situation?
I think people can handle a lot more than what they think.
Yeah.
100%. It's like, I don't train that frequent, but I train.
You're intense,
when
yeah.
I train.
Yeah.
You know, it's going to be 16 working sets in a session with them, 16 working sets to death.
Yeah.
Session will probably last, an hour and a half, 2 hours.
Mm-hmm.
So, 1, do the maximum that you can recover from.
Yeah.
2, as long as you're progressing session to session, you're good. If you're just going in the gym and you're going through the motions, you're probably in the gym too much.
Yeah,
now, secondly, if you're just forcing extra training day a week in, but it's causing absolute hell at home, is it worth having an extra training week in? Training day in? Probably not. So it depends. You've got to look at different points. It's like, what does your weekly structure look like? What days you know you can give your everything in the gym without it disturbing your work life or family life?
Yeah.
Because not everyone's going to have luxury like myself, where I've moulded my life around bodybuilding. Mm-hmm. That's probably 1% of people that I work with.
Yeah.
So you have to think outside the box and be like, right, what can you get away with across this week in terms of training sessions, your training volume, and recovery time as well, and downtime.
Yeah.
Which I do think is equal as important. You can't just be in the gym every single day and expect to progress if you are training hard enough. But, you know, some people can if they've got full-time, if they're a full-time bodybuilder. But none of us really are truly full-time bodybuilders. No. Nick Walker is the only person that I know that's just a full-time bodybuilder, doesn't do anything else.
Yeah.
You know, fair one, but my head would fall off.
Yeah, I'd need something else as well, for sure.
My head would fall off.
I think the issue there with the recovery question is, again, how hard are you training?
Yeah.
You can't... One thing as a coach I know we'll agree with and you struggle with is teaching intensity.
Yeah.
You can only really do that in person.
Yeah.
Because you need to be there to say you train like a faggot.
Yeah.
Some faggots might train hard.
We're not referring to gay people.
It's just a term I use.
We're referring to people that train like
fairies.
Pussies.
Yeah. Maybe faggot was the wrong term.
Yeah.
Hope we don't get shut down.
Comments.
But yeah, intensity is something that... how do you manage that with clients? Do you just ask for videos and critique form videos?
Yeah, so you can always see the form clips.
Yeah.
You can always see the form clips. And secondly, it's like, you know when someone trains hard enough and they get themselves in a hole where they're completely trashed.
Yeah.
Because they're going to be on their arse from a recovery standpoint.
Yeah.
Like, they're going to be telling me, like, look, Kuba, I can't sleep at night. I'm bloated. I feel sick. Like, that's when you know you've really took it there and you've really smashed yourself to the ground.
Yeah.
And how many people do that? Very far few in between. A lot of people, don't really need deloads. So, like, you need to train harder in the first place. Now, where you can actually see it is always when you watch the form clips from the send them through and you look at the rep pace and speed the last few reps, and it's like some people like fake it and like put it on and like they'll struggle and all of a sudden they'll like make a noise and like complete the rep really quick and I'm like
or it was going like this and all of a sudden they go like, come on.
But look, it's one of them things. I think sometimes it takes people a long time to be able to truly learn to take it there with that sort of intensity. But at the same time, what we spoke about earlier, people try to run before they can walk.
Yeah.
If you can't train that hard yet, that's okay, but don't try and put it on and fake it because that's just worse. Because you're not giving me the right feedback and information that we can work from. Because if you can't train that hard, the likelihood of you needing more work in the gym is very, very likely.
Yeah.
Because the only reason why I need less sets is because I can train pretty hard.
Yeah.
If you can't, you will likely need a lot more sets in the gym to be able to make progress. Because every set you're doing you know, you've got 3-4 reps left in the tank. So you'll probably need even more training days or more sets in your sessions as well.
Well, we talk about the skill of bodybuilding, don't we?
Yeah.
The skill of bodybuilding has been questioned by other podcasts and other people who don't believe bodybuilding is a skill. But the skill is getting most bang for your buck at the fewest amount of sets per session. Like, that is the skill of bodybuilding.
Yep.
You can get out of 10 sets what someone needs 30 sets for.
Yeah, 100%.
And I think it is a very skillful thing. I think it is a sport. I'm just going to fucking nail that to bed.
It's not a pageant, not a beauty
Even
pageant.
Jay Cutler says it's a beauty pageant last week. I was like, Jay, what are you saying?
Yeah. I get
the
I
competing
get where Jay's
part,
coming from.
maybe.
The competing part is a beauty pageant, but what we do in itself, it is not a beauty pageant because we have to bodybuild properly. You have to be like an athlete.
Yeah.
You have to keep a schedule. You have to have your nutrition on point. You have to have your recovery on point. You have to get the cardio in. You have to get your training sessions in. It's unlike any other sport in the world where some sports, boxing, you can take time off. You come back, you're better. You take time off in bodybuilding, you're not getting better, bro. You're taking months to get back to where you was, and then you have to work to get better.
Yeah, for sure.
It's not a part-time thing, unfortunately. You know, and that's what we all know.
Yeah,
you can't dip your toes in. You can't be half in. Can't be half out. No. Especially when you're doing it at our level.
Yeah.
And if you do that, you know, you've got to be prepared that, you know, you are going to need some time to regain that tissue. It's like Jordan. Give you a prime example right now. Jordan's took a big step back away from bodybuilding for a long time, and we all know that. Obviously, we've seen it following the socials. He's back to bodybuilding now, and it's still going to take him some time to get back to his previous best.
Yeah.
So at this level, the bigger you are, more muscle you carry, you've got to be all in. Can't be half in, can't be half out. And the reason why I can be comfortably so all in as well is like, bodybuilding is a ticking time bomb.
Yeah.
I can't do this for the rest of my life.
No.
There's going to come to a point where I have to back off. I won't be able to be as heavy. I'll have to, you know, drop a ton of weight. I won't be able to train the way I do. You know, so there comes a time where you will have to inevitably take that step back. You know, whenever that is always individual. You know, whenever you're ready for that happens. And I think that's going to be like a natural progression in life where you have to kind of re-find your own path.
Yeah.
Especially alongside your career outside of bodybuilding as well, innit? Depends what's going on outside of all that.
Absolutely.
And that's kind of on where I am with it. Again, different levels, not putting myself in your boys' brackets, but I'm 40 next year. I don't want to be risking things and health and all that shit past that. So I'm switching up, and that's exactly like my little thing is like race against time. Like you said, ticking time bomb, race against fucking time, man.
It is.
But unfortunately, some people don't realise that, and they'll just keep going and going and going, and then you see it happen.
Yeah, you can't.
The good thing is that you're aware of it.
Yeah, you've got to be. You've got to be realistic. You've got to be smart with what you do.
Yeah.
Yeah, realistic, that's a big word there.
Yeah. Some people set unrealistic goals, and I think they're slightly delusional as well. Straight people are very delusional with the industry, with the practices, and with what expectations are, with what they expect from themselves.
Yeah.
You've got to be your own biggest critic in this sport, I think. You've got to be real. You've got to know where you stand.
The big delusion factor is like timescales. How long does it take to build a physique? I mean, I have clients come to me and it's like, I want to be a pro. Well, you need probably 6-7 years hard work. What? I was thinking like a year tops. No, mate, don't work like that. Again, it's about they see the now, not the journey. That is a big thing. And I always have people, I kind of think, I have a growth mindset, and I do believe in setting your goals fucking high so you can achieve as high as possible. But some people will come and they'll put on the consultation form, classic professional.
I've got that all the time.
I think...
Can't stick to a diet for a week.
Yeah. Who's fucking telling you that you got, I'd love to be in your heads. Because you'd be great at something if you had that ability to overreach that much.
The problem is, we've got all this content to watch now, right? We watch each other's content. We watch, we watch, all the top guys in the industry. They make it look easy.
Yeah.
It's just what they do.
Yeah.
People look at that and think, well, I can do that.
Yeah.
Then it comes to real practice, real world practice, when you have to get up, you have to get your meals, and you have to train. And all of a sudden, it's a massive shock to the system because they're used to eating biscuits, and now they're getting told they can't eat biscuits. But then they really are eating biscuits, and the weight's jumping all over the place. Next thing you know, the fat, they're out of shape again, and it's like, well,
How long will your off season last? Just a random question. How long would you typically do in an off season? Right now, say, yeah.
Right, so post show, 6-week health phase, and then a 24-week push up phase.
Yeah.
It's like pushing up, gaining body weight. A holding phase, 5-6 week health phase again.
Yeah.
And then a mini cut after that.
Yeah.
And then I've got another 20-week push up phase after that.
Yeah.
Into another holding phase, 5 weeks, and then prep.
And realistically, how much tissue would you say you'd put on in that time?
In all that time?
Yeah.
I think I'll be able to squeeze probably about 12 pounds.
12 pounds on, and that's a long time going through that process.
It's over a year.
And I've seen how meticulous you are on a daily. Everything revolves around you making progress and making that weight gain, putting that tissue on. The delusional thing there, people are saying they're going to be putting this weight on in this amount of time, in half the time of, and not living the life that you live.
Listen, and then they step on stage and they're looking worse.
Yeah.
Because they've not given themselves time to improve. They've not given themselves any time to have even a phase to prep themselves for a prep. Like, you know yourself how much it hit you when you went into a prep with not being in the best position, both physically and mentally.
Yeah.
How much harder was it?
Bad times. It was rough.
Listen, though, hard work wins.
Yeah,
It trumps.
yeah.
But the fact of the matter is, if you wasn't able to work as hard as you did, you wouldn't have brought the shape that you did.
No.
So, credit to that. But there's a fact, Jamie. It's like, if you expected someone that's not of your mentality or same, level as you are to do the same what you did there, you'd break them. They'd never want to compete again.
Yeah.
That's a fact. But then you know that if you'd given yourself a little bit more time before that and circumstances were a bit different, you would have probably had a lot of a smoother prep. And
100%. This is why the importance of the off season far outweighs anything else.
Absolutely.
And that's why people ask me, when do you think you grew the most? Well, it's when I started with Jordan in 2018, because that's when I started taking my off seasons as serious as the preps. And that's what people don't realise. People think off season's a break.
Yep.
It's a time to have more balance, more relaxation, more meals off, more not living the lifestyle. But the true bodybuilders, the ones who do it 365, are the ones that make the progress when it comes around to the next time to compete.
Absolutely. And it's not just about having meals off. We can all have meals off and eat off plan, but it's a case of how you approach the meals off.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people use it as a bit of an excuse to go all in.
Yeah,
and have no self-control.
Is it a meal off? Is it a day off? Is it a week off?
Or is it a massive binge?
Yeah. Because that's another question in itself, isn't it? It's, again, emotional eating and eating disorders related with bodybuilding. Yeah. Self-control is massive. Discipline's massive. And I think people lack self-control and discipline in an off-season setting because they do think it's time off.
Yeah. No such thing as time off. That's the time where you make the improvements made, but that's also the time that most people fall off bandwagon, as they like to call it.
Yeah.
Or, what else do they say?
The awesome carriage.
No, what else do they say? There's always something to say. They always say something. It's like they don't know where they're going. They always come out with like silly excuses, like they lack sense of direction. It's like the direction is to improve. Yeah. And the reason why you lack that sense of direction is because you're not in contest shape. You're not getting the attention that you was on social media with all the posts and everything else. You don't have as much to post because most people, realistically, at that point, like, the only thing they can post about is being in shape, which engages people at the time. But what are you going to do then for your content when you're out of shape, when you're off season, when you're trying to improve?
Yeah,
that's another thing. And I think mentally, if someone's so driven by that, that dopamine hit that they get from likes, etc. If they're driven by that, that's going to mentally make them feel a little bit. That's the word. I feel lost.
Yeah, lost.
You don't feel lost. You're just deep into the off season.
Yeah, I feel lost doing all these fucking cameras all the time.
Jay, where are you gone?
Just to get my steps in.
Cameraman.
No, I think that's a big one. The off season, I think, is where you find out how much you want it.
Yeah.
It's what separates. I don't want to cut women out here, but it's what separates men from the boys.
Yeah, 100%.
And people chasing pro cards and having these ambitions and goals. I think they get found out in an off-season setting.
Yeah.
I got a client at the minute. I've got to WhatsApp him today. He messaged me yesterday. Wants to have a break from coaching. This guy's got phenomenal potential.
Yeah.
He's had 2 years competing with me. He's got all the potential in the world, but falls apart mentally in off-season for whatever reason. He's a coach. He's had the upbringing around the right people, but I'm going to have a serious word in today because I think I've tried everything else. Yeah. I've tried the mollycoddling, I've tried the being nice, I've tried the approach that why don't we change this, why don't we train that. I've got to lay on him thick because this guy's got potential. I see potential in him, but he's only letting himself down. Yeah. He can only do it himself. We can only do it ourselves. And that's what people don't realise. People want someone to fucking hold their hand all the time, and they're quick to point the finger that he's lucky because he's been given that opportunity, or he's got this because of that. No, motherfucker, we got it because we're prepared to do things that you're not.
Yeah.
And these idiots that bash about pro cards these days about them getting easier to get. No, like you said earlier, why haven't you got one then? But it's not easier to get. There's more opportunity.
Yeah.
The shows are still going to be stacked. You still got to put yourself in there. You got to be in it to win it. I did the same. I went to Italy, amateur Olympia, and I got my pro card. I knew I wasn't ready to be a pro yet, but I thought and I knew that I was good enough to be a pro, with enough potential to make an impact and do well as a pro as well, with the right time off. But I don't know why some people crumble. Again, the biggest saying I kind of like live by is, no one else is going to believe in you if you don't believe in yourself. So believe in yourself, believe in your own hype, and then there might be people that fucking look at you and think and see something. So self-belief's a massive factor. But I don't want to overegg that too much. I'm going to have a WhatsApp conversation with this guy later, and hopefully he's watching this and he thinks about himself while I'm fucking messaging him.
I think in terms of timings,
we've
got some questions on the Instagram.
Yeah.
So I reckon we do these quick fire, because I'm not sure how long these batteries are going to fucking last you.
Yeah.
Because we're on the last
We've got a
one
good. We normally hour and a half is a good time.
Hour and a half is normally, so this is like perfect anyway.
Smash out some quick questions.
But we'll do some quick fires, man. How many you got there?
I got a good 4. I've done 1. A lot of them are just shit.
Favorite off-plan meal?
Oh, I know what Cuba's going to say here.
Yeah.
I'm not going to say sushi because everyone knows I love sushi, so I'll maybe go with something else. Turkish grill.
Turkish grill,
yeah.
Oh, mate, I had some Lebanese in Dubai. Yeah. Lovely, mate. It's like Turkish Lebanese. It's like Spanish tapas, but meat and all good stuff.
Rice, beef.
Yeah.
There we go, let's go.
Sass took me for something like that before in one of his places. He goes, it fucking banging.
Nice.
Yeah.
Charcoal grill.
Yeah.
So someone says here, Cuba, bring back the seminars with you and Cuba at Ultraflex. What do you reckon?
Let's go.
3 to 5 reasons, don't have to do 3 to 5, for growing your coaching business and keeping it. What? 3 to 5 reasons for growing your coaching business? Or is he asking 3 to 5 ways to grow your coaching business? Because if there's 3 to 5 reasons for growing your business, surely that'd be a stupid question.
Yeah. Let's go with like 1.
So maybe 3 steps: knowledge, application, and consistency.
There we go.
Wicked.
That's literally.
That's it.
You want to end there.
Yeah.
Get the knowledge, be consistent, and what's this?
Application.
And apply yourself, both to your coaching and your own self-development.
Yeah.
I've got how to avoid hair loss while using steroids.
Don't use steroids.
Wear a hat.
Or wear a hat.
And again, that's completely hereditary, isn't it?
Listen, I obviously take.
It's because I've not used anything, you know.
So
looks stuck on at the back there.
I don't know, mate. Have you seen the pictures when I had it long?
Yeah.
Oh, mate, he needs to do that.
I'm going to grow it back.
Sweat back.
I'm going to grow it
Slick
back.
it.
Slick back. Yeah, the slick back look, mate, unbelievable.
I reckon it's going to come back.
Jesus Christ! I'm telling you, I'd have 5 in there now.
That 5.
No, 5.
Thing is, now I slick it back, it just exposes the forehead even more. I've got to get some Botox.
The what's it called again?
The fucking vagina
The
or
vag.
something. Yeah.
I take after my mum's side, and all men on my mum's side of family, all bald in the 20s.
All bald.
Yeah.
Shiny, big shiny heads.
Yeah.
So
Definitely hereditary.
What is the most difficult thing about being a bodybuilder? Quick fire.
How selfish you have to be.
Yeah.
Straight.
Yeah. How do you train to prevent hitting a plateau?
Periodization.
Yeah.
So you'll need to get to a point where you need to reset, pull back, deload, rest.
Yeah.
Whatever you need to do. Generally, people hit a plateau because one, they probably got to a place where they're either not eating enough or under recovered. So periodization.
And how long would you periodize your training for? Stick with one. Say it's. I know you're loving the low incline Smith at the minute.
Yeah.
How long would you run that before you stop progressing in load or reps?
So I'm 22 weeks deep on that now.
Yeah.
And I'm still making good progress with it. So I started off with like 3 plates and a 5 for like 6 reps. I'm up to 4 plates and a 2.5 for 6 now.
Yeah.
And I've done like 4 plates and a 10 and a little biscuit on for 3.
Yeah.
So that's over 22 weeks. So
perfect.
That's the sort of progression.
And that's what people don't do, innit? People stop progressing.
Yeah.
After 6-8 weeks, it's like, I need a new training plan.
And he knew that off the top of his head.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what I mean by like how meticulous you can be.
Yeah.
And what it takes. Like.
And then you always find people, it's like they'll stick to a movement and be like, yeah, I just can't get any stronger after like 3 weeks of doing it. Yeah. It's like, no, you're just putting way too much weight on it. You're just trying to just move the load.
Yeah.
So there's just so many different things you can kind of go into. But the problem is, unless you're working with someone that's a genetic freak, people don't have the understanding that unless you are that freak, you can't train like the freaks can train and progress.
Yeah, yeah.
So you can't expect the same results, but unfortunately, people do expect the same results.
Yeah. And that comes back to the skill of bodybuilding again. Choosing the right weights.
Absolutely.
You know, start progressing from a point where you're perfecting that exercise.
Yeah.
Then think about adding load. And you know, you've probably got to add reps in that point as well.
Yeah.
But like you say, people running before they walk, they're fucking adding the top set weights on, moving it from A to B however they can.
Yeah.
And then try and progress from there. That's like, it's not going to happen, is it?
No.
I've got one. Why are some old school bodybuilders so against learning and trying new methods? This has got to be quick fire, so good luck with that.
Oh, mate. Quick fire on that one.
Why are old
Insecurity.
Insecurity,
A lot of insecurity, yeah. It's like they've got to a certain place in their life, they've achieved certain accolades and certain success off the back of doing something, and they fail to accept that it's something new and better. It's like I say, there's a reason why we've got cars instead of horse and carriage now.
Yeah.
And the problem is their insecurity is now leading to bitterness towards people that are getting success right now. Because let's face it, bodybuilding is so much more mainstream. There's a lot more people doing it right now.
Yeah.
Back in the day, the people that was bodybuilding was the genetic elite.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the biggest difference.
Yeah.
We don't have that now. Every Tom, Dick and Harry wants to be a bodybuilder.
Yeah.
So when you're working with someone who is not genetic elite, you've got to find a way to make them grow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because they're not going to grow off anything. Like the old school bodybuilders that, you know, have all these set ways.
Everyone's got a way.
Everyone's got a
And
way.
I actually thought of something. I've not said it on this podcast yet, but I actually thought something about all these arguments that people are having about what's good, what's bad, what's the best, blah, blah. Doesn't matter. It's not what you do.
Yep.
It's how you do it.
Yeah.
That's it. That puts everything to bed.
Show me the results.
It's not what you do, it's how you do it.
They've all got, all these old school boys have got all these opinions, but show me your clients.
Yeah.
Show me the people that you've brought that look like nothing, that look like something now.
Yeah.
Oh, wait.
Yeah.
Oh, wait. You don't have clients. You can only kind of back your point with yourself. Do one, pal.
Yeah.
Like until you come back to me and you can prove your point and give me like a really logical reason for whatever you're saying to back it up with, or show me the results. Your opinion's irrelevant, pal.
Yeah.
Because if the only real validation is your old pictures from 1999 to back your point up, your point's irrelevant.
Yeah.
I think a big thing for me as well is that, like, off the back of the Olympia and some of the comments that were made, we know, we compete. Times are different now.
Yeah.
It's not about being peeled out your mind. It's about bringing a balanced look to a stage that you know You're going to fit the current mould, current criteria.
So big up T, if you listen to it. One of my clients got me like seats. I was literally just up from like the first row.
Oh, wicked.
And I was right in the middle.
Yeah.
So I had seats that were like, I could see like the detail.
Yeah.
And I'm telling you, Haddy and Derek, unbelievable.
Yeah.
You called it on your story, I think, didn't you? Yeah,
I called every placing as soon as they came out.
Yeah.
Because I could see the detail and how thin the skin was. So the lighting there was shocking.
Yeah.
Unless you was there in person, you could not appreciate the quality and standard of these guys. And the problem is as well, that's top 2, right? And Nick. I'll give it Nick as well. Nick was peeled.
Yeah.
But from that top 3, when you looked at everyone else, if you compare them to that top 3, they all look 6 weeks out.
Yeah.
Apart from...
Antoine was peeled, wasn't he?
Antoine was peeled, but he was just a bit down in size. And the American fella pulls a good vacuum. Now, Charles Griffin was also peeled as well.
He's peeled.
And I feel like Charles should have placed a little higher.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Last question for the podcast. This is a good one to finish on. Predictions for the Arnolds. Top 6.
What I want are what's actually going to pan out.
What do you want? What do you want?
Yeah.
This is the Kuba show.
What I'd love to see.
Yeah. What do you want?
I'd love to see Sean win.
Yep.
Sean, Nick. I love Nick. Do you know what, though? I love Samson as well.
Samson's made some crazy changes last few years.
He's made some amazing improvements. He's working hard, but he still has a way to go from the back.
Yeah.
And Samson, if you listen to it, don't take it to heart, but he can get in shape, absolutely.
Yeah.
I just think he's been working with Milos not that long, has he really?
No. What is it, a year and a half maybe?
Yeah.
And I think Samson now has the right guidance to take it there. Because he's got the right guidance now, I know that he can reach that level of condition.
I think this
when he does, it's lights out for
Game
everyone.
over.
Yeah, because when he gets lean from the back, like he does from the front, how do you think his front will look?
Oh, yeah.
It'll be incredible.
This next off-season phase for him is going to be huge.
Yeah. I'd love to see him just stay a little bit leaner, just so he can bring that conditioning. Because the heavier you get, the harder it is to get in shape. So, Sean, Nick, it's just a workhorse. So you've got to give it Nick. Samson, third. And they could flip Samson and Nick, realistically. Andrew Jack fourth.
Yeah.
I'd like to see that. I don't think he's going to place higher just yet. I don't, because he's going to be leaner than he was at Olympia, but he's going to be down in size, I think.
Yeah.
And because he's going to be down in size, that pop and fullness won't be quite the same.
Especially for a taller guy, it's always difficult.
Yeah, I can imagine that. Now, that's 4.
Who we got?
Rami 5th. And then... Williams 6th.
Yeah. That's a good top 6. So based on that, my mutant counterpart, Mr. Clarida, Giant Killer.
Your top 6.
On the spot. I don't want to speak against my compadre, do I?
I'm just going to say I'd love to see Samson win, but
yeah,
I think
I'd love to see Samson win, but I'm just being what I want to see here. Yeah. Seeing the guys that at the moment are really just,
Yeah.
And Samson is getting that guy. He's being that guy now. So credit to him.
He's killing him.
Yeah, he is.
I think this is how I would. No, I would like to, because obviously Sean's on mute, and I would like to see Sean win the show. But this is how I think things are going to pan out.
Be quick because the batteries are going.
Nick, Samson, Andrew, then Sean, then Rami, then William. That's how I see it.
I heard somewhere like if Sean's not first, he is going to. If he's not first, he's like 4th, 5th.
Yeah.
Go on, Jimmy.
Samson.
Yeah.
Nick. Andrew, Sean. Rami. And then probably go William.
Yeah. Happy days. All got the same top 6 but different order.
Right.
Different order, yeah.
Do you know how people are saying it'll be impossible for Sean to win, right? Derek and Haddy, both quite small frames in comparison to everyone else.
Yeah.
And both in 230s, top 220s. Let's go.
It'd be mad if you. It'd be class if he wins. Obviously,
Oh, yeah.
do you know what I mean?
He's going to have the fans behind him as well. 'cause
Pound
so,
for pound, most muscle.
Oh,
Yeah.
Pound for pound, most quality there. By far.
definitely.
He's like the most balanced physique up there, isn't he?
Yeah,
Most complete.
If you're judging bodybuilding for bodybuilding,
Yeah,
he's going to win it.
yeah.
I see that.
Happy days. Well,
Well-
perfect timing because I need a piss.
Before we go, anyone you want to give a shout out to? Thanks, sponsors, etc., etc.
Absolutely nobody.
I'd like to thank absolutely nobody.
Absolutely nobody. No. Shout out to obviously Meg. Shout out to Jordan.
Yeah.
Shout out to Hard Body for the accessories. He's hooking me up. Shout out to Ultraflex, Charlie and Mike. That's about it. Yeah.
Job done.
Everyone else can.
Suck a dick.
Suck a bag of dicks.
Suck a bag of dicks.
You said it.
All of them.
You said it. You said it.
All right, that's another one in the bag.
Thanks for having me on, gents. Appreciate
Yeah,
it.
thank you for making the trip, and obviously thank you to the 2 previous guests because these guys are taking time out of their busy schedules to come down, and that's the timer.
Fuck them.
Fuck them.
It's not their show. It's mine.
The Kuba Show. Please like, comment, subscribe to the YouTube, follow the Spotify 5-star ratings, and we shall see you and squeeze another one in when you get back from your next fucking trip.
Yes, before FIBO.
Before
We'll get a
FIBO.
few in before then.
Right, okay.
Keep fucking working
I'll
hard.
hold you to that. Peace out.